All I know is this violates every canon of respectable broadcasting.
How are you?
Hey, who wants to help me get this recorder out of here? I need some muscle over here.
You are listening to Blame Your Brother.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back, everyone, to Blame Your Brother, episode 290 tonight. We're getting closer to 300 when something big is going to happen, maybe. And we are streaming the show live.
News to me if it does.
I know, right? We're streaming it live right now on YouTube, so come hang out with us Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Go to youtube.com/blameyourbrother, and you can come hang out with us in real time. Watch mistakes happen and magic happen. So, yes, we are Blame Your Brother. There's two of us that make up this show. I am one half of this duo. I am David, a.k.a. D-Brew, Glenn Jackson, the spiritual midget, the great value Anderson Cooper. I'll get to that in a minute. And I'm sitting here with this gentleman here to my left. It's John.
Hey, everybody, John here, a.k.a. Mr. Groupon, Mr. PTI, the madman.
They got John Tortorella, a madman.
They do have a madman.
Okay, he's a madman.
All right, so yes, David and John, we are Blame Your Brother. And we've been doing this for a while. So if it's your first time, appreciate you checking it out. All right. I will say the great value Anderson Cooper. Now, I've been told so let's go back. If you don't know who
When
Anderson...
you say great value, do you mean wish.com?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you. So I've been on TikTok, just posting away, getting a little following going. And the conservatives, they just don't like me, John. I get under their skin, whatever.
What?
And so this one guy just jumps in the comments. It's just like these right-wing trolls. And he's like, oh, you're a dummy, blah, blah, blah. And I always try to respond. I mean, I try to really respond truthfully at first with, like, serious engagement. And then I see, like, oh, this is going off the rails. But anyway, this guy was all right. I mean, he wasn't the worst troll I've encountered. But anyway, Anderson Cooper is a CNN analyst. And back in our day,
yes,
way back in the day.
That's where he got his start, I guess.
Yeah, 1991-ish. He was on a little thing called Channel 1.
Channel 1. Which
was a news program broadcast in high schools, which started at the beginning of the day. So first period, your homeroom or whatever, it'd come on. It's like a, 20-minute program. It highlights some news stories around the world. I thought it was kind of cool. I mean, truthfully, being a politically person that loved politics back then, John, myself, both being in Young Republicans at the time, I thought it was a good idea, though. I mean, it introduces people to the idea of a news stories. It did, like I said, global stories, local stories, things like that. So it was like Lisa Ling was on it, Anderson Cooper, a bunch of people. I mean, people that are on the news today. And I used to hear back then, oh, dude, you look like Anderson Cooper, man. I was like, okay, awesome. I mean, I looked like, I did resemble him, obviously, but they had I remember our senior year, they had a play, or they had like senior skits.
They had senior skits.
Skits. And they had Anderson Cooper make an appearance, and I did not get to play it. My arch nemesis, David May, did. Wildly enough, his name was David, and that was my enemy of high school. Anyway, cut to many years later. This guy on there finally just said, you're a great value Anderson Cooper. Now, normally you would say you're the poor man's Anderson Cooper, right? Or your Anderson Cooper Light, or your Wish.com Anderson Cooper. When this guy said great value, I knew this guy was, he grew up poor like I did, because I caught what great value was, but I think anyone middle class or above probably doesn't know what great value is.
No, it's a knockoff brand for
Walmart. Walmart. It's a Walmart buddy brand. So I thought that was very entertaining. I love it. High compliment. I've always liked Anderson Cooper. So there you go. That's where you get the nickname. All right. Well, John, you did a couple of things this past week. Let's start off with your week. We talked about last week real quick. We did a poll. Better show, Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul. Now, what do you think won, John?
I think Breaking Bad probably won, but I don't know if I agree.
Better Call Saul won 75% to 25%. Now, there wasn't a lot of votes. It's on Twitter, but still, 8 votes. So that's not a lot. But 75%, I did not see that. Now, you think, which one's a better show? I said last week, possibly, I'm going to go record, but Breaking Bad's a better show. I mean,
think
come on.
Overall,
yeah.
what determines a good show is largely based on the people watching it. If you can identify with a show or a character in that show, you're going to like it more.
Okay.
Breaking Bad, there just isn't. It was a great show, but who am I supposed to identify with in that show?
I identified with Walter White to some degree. In a different... Now, I'll explain why. I never... And I've said this before.
At the beginning of the show, yeah, I could see that.
I never wavered. And this was my thing about Breaking Bad. He never did anything I thought that would really cross the line. And I mean this. You can bring up anything he did, and I'll go, well, when he poisoned the kid. I'm like, well, I mean, he's like the smartest guy in the room. He knew that wouldn't kill the kid. Now, is that over a line? Obviously. Would I do that? No. But I also wouldn't start cooking meth when I was diagnosed with cancer to help my family. I identified with the arrogance of Walter White. I will say that 100%. Like, if I was smarter... I could see myself being Walter White. And so, yeah. And then the same thing, Better Call Saul. Man, I identified with the scheming and scamming of Saul Goodman. I mean, but I understand what you're saying. I don't always necessarily have to say I love a character like The Wire. And there was no character on there. I was like, oh, I'm like this guy. I was like, no, I'm like none of these guys, bro. Like, I just think that you have to be able to identify with certain aspects of their personality, or it has to be very engaging.
Even with The Wire, I mean, there's aspects of Jimmy McNulty that people want to be like.
Oh, for sure. There is that.
And so there's that aspect of identification, as in wanting to objectify their traits onto yourself.
True. So I will say this, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I love being around like very smart people, and I don't care if they're a little bit too arrogant. It sometimes is a bit much, but I think anyone super smart has some degree of arrogance in them already. Like when we had Shane Morris on, to me, that's a guy that's very intelligent. Like, you realize about 2 minutes into hearing him talk, like, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about. Yeah,
but there was never an air of him talking down. At least not to us.
Maybe not to us, but...
And so I love Shane.
But he definitely smacks the haters around, like, and buries them with arrogance. I mean, like, I'm like... Anyways, the point is, yes, I identified with Walter White's intelligence, and I identified with his arrogance. But the final answer, better show. Just cards on the table. Which one, John? Just make it. I'm saying.
Like I said last week, it's almost a continuation of the same show.
But you got to pick
it's
one.
Hard.
Breaking Bad.
Then I'd have to go with the original.
Okay,
yeah.
Breaking Bad. All right. Well, the poll. You people are idiots. We're getting like no traction on Twitter. Like, anyone who voted, you're a fool. No, I get you. Sometimes recency bias does happen. Okay, that's the poll. Let's move on. All right, John. So you went and saw some music this past weekend. Tell the people what you went and saw.
We saw Goo Goo Dolls.
And who?
And Blue October.
Blue October. I know they had a hit.
They had two hits.
I can't remember.
The big one was, at least in my eyes, was Hate Me.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then the other one
was
like Deep something.
Wait a minute.
Into the Deep or something like that.
These guys are opening for the Goo Goo Dolls?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand. Those two aren't even... Hate Me, that's like new metal-ish, right?
No, not the verses. The verses are very talky, singy. Like, he's almost talking.
No, I know, but the chorus is very like... Okay, anyway, I would not pair them with Goo Goo Dolls.
I wouldn't either. I would put them closer to like My Chemical Romance or somebody like that.
Okay. Yeah, there was a whole period in the aughts, the 2000s, of just music that was not very easily categorized. You know, like I think they're probably a band, like there was a band called Cold, and they had a song called Stupid Girl that Rivers Cuomo wrote for them. And, like, when you hear that song, if anyone knows what I'm talking about, you're like, oh, yeah, that's obviously a Weezer song. And then you would hear their other stuff, and it was, like, very, like, metal. And I'm like, that's a story I want to hear. How does Rivers Cuomo, meet them? Anyway, okay. So how, were you paying attention to this band? Were you there for, like, their whole set?
I was there the whole time. And I only remember their one big, that had one album, so... I don't know. Okay. Their set wasn't very long.
Okay, well, that's good. All right, so the Goo Goo Dolls come out. They play all the hits. Was there any songs?
The only song they didn't play that I can remember off the top of my head, they didn't play Long Way Down, and they didn't play the cover of Supertramp, Give a Little Bit.
We talked about that.
Yeah.
When the mics went off, Supertramp. I mean, we looked at their songs. I was like, I don't know any of these songs. I hate that stupid song. Give a little bit. I hate that song so much. If we ever do a list of most hated songs, that would probably make my list. There's something about it. I almost feel like Nirvana was spoofing that, like that whole like kind of hippie, like hippie dippy. When hippiness goes too far down the rabbit hole, I'm out. Like I can take a little bit of it, but when you start getting to those levels of give a little bit of your love, oh, please stop, dude. Anyway, okay. So they played. So they played Name, Broadway, Black Balloon, Slide, Iris. So
of course,
so it was hit after hit after hit. Now I thought I saw someone posted they also played some new songs.
They
right?
played some new songs,
and he gave a little speech, right? Like.
He gave a speech about college loans.
Really?
Like what?
What did he say?
He said like he never paid his, and like when Name hit, and they started to get all this money, his manager or somebody was like, "Oh, well, you got this money, now you pay your student loan debt back." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm not doing that."
What?
And so
Johnny Resnick, let's go.
And he's like, "Well, I mean." They're gonna come after you.
Yeah.
And like after him not paying it, his manager got back to him. He's like, "Yeah, I just paid your student debt."
Really? Out of his money?
No, I mean he manages his money.
Yeah,
so
I know. That's what
he paid it, but he.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay. So Johnny Resnick's a little bit of a liberal.
I'd imagine so.
Okay. Well, there we go. All right. So overall, how was the performance? I mean, everything good?
Pretty good, yeah.
All original members, as far as you know. I mean, I only know the bass player, Johnny Resnick.
The bass player sang a few songs.
Really?
Yeah.
Like what songs? Like songs you recognize?
I did not recognize them at all.
Okay. Huh. Okay, I didn't realize. Maybe in the early stuff, I guess he.
I think they did. I think.
Oh yeah, I think you're right. Now that you say it, yeah, I think he did sing early on. I think once they hit big. You know, Jimmy Eat World's kind of the same thing.
I did not know that.
Early on, James Atkins did not sing all the songs, and then once they got big, you see like, oh, you're just singing all the songs. But yeah, their early stuff is very, very different than what they kind of became, like a pop kind of punk, kind of pop rockish band. I love Jimmy Eat World, don't get me wrong, but anyway,
they're in kind of the same vein as Weezer.
Yeah. Those two could play a show together.
Yeah.
All right, I'm perfectly fine with this. If Weezer played with, I don't know, man, Seether, I would be like, what is happening right now? You know what I'm saying? Anyway. So, I mean, overall, good performance. I mean, they put on a great show.
Yeah.
Family did good. Kids did good.
Kids did good. The downside, I don't know if it was Asher or Emily, but one of them spilled some, we had some root beer, and they spilled, it was an outdoor show.
Okay.
We had lawn seats, and she spilled something, root beer on the blanket. Daring Black Balloon was my favorite song. I'm trying to zone in, and then all of a sudden there's all this stuff going on at my feet, and I'm like,
I know, kids.
But
you love them, but
besides that, it was a great show. Kids loved it. Emily ended up falling asleep.
Well, of course. I mean, what time did it start? Like 7?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, of course. I mean, we probably didn't get out of there until what, 10 o'clock?
We got home around 11:30, so maybe a little bit left.
Right. And where was this at again? This was at Ascend?
Ascend.
Okay. So if you don't know, you're not in
We were
Nashville.
like super close to
That's
it.
good.
So
Ascend is like an outdoor theater in Nashville. It's nice. It's a nice little place to go hang out. Were people partaking? Or what kind of?
At one point in time, I smelled a little bit, but
for sure. I mean, what was the crowd like? Was it as when we?
Well, the thing is like I don't look my age. I look younger than I am, and when I see people who actually are my age, but to me they look a lot older.
Right.
And so I'd probably say there were people around my age, which
was
is
that
mid-40s.
The majority of people?
I'd probably say yeah.
Okay. So boomer. I mean, we're not boomers, but like a Gen X crowd.
Gen X crowd,
okay.
yeah.
Bunch of kids with the.
There were a few, but not a lot.
Okay. And so, because when we went to the Counting Crow show, I've said this is the most eclectic crowd I've ever seen in my life. Like, if you just drop me in the Counting Crows crowd, like, and I was not aware who the band was, like, who is this? I have no idea, man. Like, it could be Jimmy Buffett, it could be the Beach Boys, it could be. I mean, it was young people, old people, couples. that was Counting Crows wild. But you're saying this one, you probably would look down and said, some 90s band probably.
Yeah, probably.
All right. Well, I'm glad that was
or
good.
late 80s.
Good.
Yeah.
And Black Balloon's your favorite song.
Yeah.
Is Goo Goo Dolls one of your top 10 all-time bands? I mean, you don't have to. It's not a definitive. Or do you think they might make the discussion at least?
They'd be close to it.
Okay, there you go. All right.
I'd put them in top 20.
Okay. One day we're going to do a top 10 bands. I've been thinking about this a lot lately, just because I've wondered like who is everyone's like top, Anyways, good. Okay, so then you told me you met someone famous.
I totally marked out.
John meets famous people all the time, and he works in a hotel, and like he meets all these wrestlers. Dude, you said you met Rhea Ripley. Let me tell you something. I've known she was attractive forever. I don't know if we've talked about this on the show, but
not on air. But
okay. Anyway, so you met a wrestler. No one's gonna Rhea Ripley. As of late, she's on WWE. She's a wrestler from Australia or New Zealand or something. And as of late, her attractiveness level has gone from like whatever it was to like a 9.5/10. It is crazy how good she looks now. I don't know what's going on, but good for her.
I don't know if it was. I agree with you,
right?
But I associate it with the fact that I met her in person. Sometimes that has an effect.
Yeah, for sure.
And so that's what I attribute it to her, because I thought she was attractive, but I mean she's on TV,
right?
She's an athlete, so she's fit, and so I mean there's a level of attractiveness already given at
for
that
sure.
point.
Yes, 100%.
But then seeing her in person, and I mean she's actually really soft spoken and really
right.
And then just gorgeous.
There aren't a lot of ugly women in wrestling as a whole. I mean, kind of weird, but anyway, okay, not really weird. I mean, it's
an entertainment faction.
Yeah, that's right. Of course.
So,
but still,
in sports, period. I mean,
yeah, it's kind of true,
there's
right? Not really. Huh. Well, there you go. Not only are they good looking, they're athletic. All right. So, anyways, but you didn't meet a wrestler. Who did you meet?
I met Max Weinberg.
Of Conan O'Brien fame.
Yeah, Conan O'Brien. I mean,
that's where I know.
That's where he initially he saw me. He's like, "You must know me from Conan O'Brien."
Wait, he said this to you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And I said, "I do know you from Conan, but also I know you from I'm a huge Springsteen fan as well."
E Street man. He
and
was
so,
a drummer. Yeah.
And so we talked about Bruce.
It's okay.
We
Hold
talked
on.
about
Conan.
Conan.
Hold back. Go back. All right. So this guy walks up.
He was already standing there. The guy I was relieving. I go in at 11 o'clock, and I'm walking to the back office, and I see him checking in a guest, and so I kind of got my tunnel vision on.
Right.
So I just walked straight to the back, and then the guy that was checking him in comes out. He's like, "John, I need your help with something. I can't. There's something wrong with the room." And,
oh boy.
And so I go and give him a hand, and tell him, "Okay, this is what's going on. You need to check the room, make sure it's okay before you actually check this guy in." And he's like, "Okay." So he calls on the radio and gets one of the housemen to check the room, make sure the room's okay. And then I get to start printing up my reports, because I just kind of like to hit the ground running when I get to work. And then I keep, when you see something in the corner of your eye, and you're
right.
like, and I'm like, that guy is somebody.
Right.
And I was like, it's either one or two people, and since Eddie Money is already dead, it's not him.
I'm glad you knew Eddie Money was dead. Eddie Money. Anyway, go ahead. So you knew it was the other guy.
So I knew. I was like, but just in case, I looked it up, and I was like, yep.
So it's Max Weinberg.
It's Max Weinberg.
So you walk over and you're like, "What's up, dude?"
I said, I already knew the answer, but I said, "Are you who I think you are?" He's like, "Huh?" And I was like, Are you Max Weinberg?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I'm sorry, I'm basically deaf in my ears." I was like, "I can imagine why. I'm a huge fan."
Oh, and then he says, "You know me from Conan."
He's like, "Yeah, well," he's like, "Based on how old you look, I'd guess you know me from Conan." I was like, "Well, I do, but."
Should have said, "You were in Conan the Barbarian." See, I got a good laugh. But anyway, what did y'all talk about?
We talked about Bruce Springsteen. We talked about Conan O'Brien.
What do you mean? What do you mean you talked about it? What does that mean? You talked about it?
He just told me about touring with him, and like I asked him what kind of guy he was.
Well, of course. When you think he's gonna run the man down, I mean, they're boys, man. He said he's a good guy.
He said he takes care of the band members.
I bet he does. He seems like a good guy.
I mean, he's like being known as the boss. I mean, he never really projects that
Right.
when he's with us. Music's important to him, but
Right.
it's like, I mean, it's we're just like a group of guys with the same goal and whatever, and
That's cool.
and everybody kind of brings what they have to the table, and
yeah, which is probably why he's so successful, right? I
Yeah.
mean, Bruce Springsteen, because he got a bunch of guys and he was like, hey, when I bring you in, I'm not, you're doing your thing. I think like in the Counting Crows is kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, do your thing. Bring what you bring. But yeah. So, okay, so you said Bruce is a good guy.
Yeah.
What do you say about Conan? He's a,
same thing.
of course. Max Weinberg, I don't just say, he does not seem like the type of guy that's going to go around like burying people. You know what I'm saying? Like, would you do that? Like, can you imagine if you worked, let's say you were a studio musician and I don't know, man. I guess I've hung out with people and they were like, yeah, this person was a piece of garbage that was like a studio musician before. So I guess it is possible.
Me personally, I don't think I'd run somebody down, even if I disliked them.
Okay.
I think I'd still be like, I wouldn't praise him, but he was
right.
He was putting them over.
Well, yeah, but I mean, those two guys are genuinely, I would say, good dudes, right?
Yeah.
Bruce Springsteen, Conan O'Brien. I would hang out with either. My brother-in-law does not like the cut of Conan's jib. He thinks he's a crybaby too much when all that Jay Leno stuff happened. I'm like, well, come on, man. I mean, if that happened to you,
that'd be like the dream job.
We would be.
That was the goal of
Right.
everybody in that section of that industry.
Yeah, and it was taken away by a jerk.
Yeah.
Jay Leno's a jerk. Now, whatever people
At
say.
that point in time, guys got a garage full of cars.
Right. And money that he'll never be able to spend.
Yeah.
That's the key,
He could have bowed out. He could have done a daytime show just about his cars. In fact, he ended up doing that on another network.
Interesting.
And so there's plenty of opportunities for him to bow out respectively, and he didn't need to hang out in the parking garage
Jerk.
waiting for another job or an opening to come
Right.
on. And especially don't take that time slot, because that's no longer the Tonight Show anymore.
Right.
That's the Tomorrow Show.
Just terrible. The only people I've read like people with Jay Leno, people that talk good about that guy are like kind of jerks themselves. So I'm like, oh, okay, kind of makes sense. Like Adam Carolla's like, oh, I love Jay Leno. I'm like, well, yeah, you're kind of a jerk too. I used to love.
Well, I mean, there's some people that don't like talking bad about someone in earnest.
Oh, I know, but like you said,
It's like a big hero. I mean, we've talked about it before. Norm Macdonald really wouldn't say anything outright negative about.
But
about
that's
Jay
the key.
Leno.
You never say anything about them. Do you know what I'm saying? Like these people I'm talking about.
They're putting them over.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? I get what I'm like you. If I was in Hollywood, I don't think I'd go around bad mouthing people. You know what? I don't know. I probably might. But anyway, so cool guy. So you talked about Conan, the boss. Anything else? Or he was saying, let me get up to my room. Get out of here.
No. He seemed to.
No, that's nice. You get an autograph.
No, I didn't. But
Oh well.
oh, his turns out. So he came to town because his son lives in Franklin. His son turns out to be the drummer of Slipknot. I did not know that.
Wait a minute. Wait. That's revealing for a number of reasons. His son is the drummer of Slipknot.
Yes.
Like original member?
Yeah.
Wow, I don't know how I've never heard that before.
Same here. I was just like, what? I know those guys.
And he lives in Franklin.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, yeah, there's a lot of celebrities that live around. Like I said, well, I always talk about my brother-in-law because he lives in Franklin and Corey. And he always tell me, like, this person lives there, this person lives there, and Johnny Knoxville apparently lives somewhere in Franklin or moved there. So, yeah.
I mean, any number of people, if you tell me they live in Franklin, I would not be surprised.
Franklin is it's far enough away from Nashville, but close enough where you can still get there. It's a good neighborhood. It's, if you can afford the houses, it's low crime, it's great schools.
Especially if you have anything to do with music.
Right.
Just because, I mean, Nashville has, bar none, the most recording studios in any other city in the world.
Oh, yeah.
So
Franklin's like that nice spot. If you don't have enough money to get to Franklin, you like me, you go past Franklin and you go out to Spring Hill. So, but I'm sure there's people that probably live there as well, from what I've heard. But Victoria Jackson lives, not a great person. But anyway, cool. Well, I'm glad it went well. I'm glad he was cool. And stuck around. I'm going to ask you, has anyone ever been like super short? You don't have to give the name of the person if you don't want to. But has anyone ever been like super like short with you? Like,
there's some people that were like, you could tell they didn't want to jaw.
Right.
But they weren't. There wasn't anybody that was like outright rude. I met Alexa Bliss, and you could tell she was just like, she appreciated fans, but.
Right. I'm ready to get out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that, man. I mean, I think my personality, I would always be, I mean, I think you look at your personality just in life, right? Like, I'm always talking to people if they talk to me, like, because that's just how I was raised. So, yeah, I would definitely be there, like, talking to the hotel clerk.
I'd probably play the role that they would think I would be.
Yeah.
For the most part, like, we've talked about MJF, He's a jerk on TV,
right?
As people know him, and if that was me, I'd probably give somebody a little bit of a hard time,
right?
I would play that role,
right? Yeah, I can see wrestling, but like as a musician or something, you kind of have to, do yourself. All right, well, nice. Well, I'm glad you met that guy. That's cool, man. You never know who you're gonna meet in this city for sure. I want to bring up a thought I had the other night. Now. You get to 40s or whatever, your style is what it is, right? I mean, your friends, you see them, they're kind of all dressing similar, all right? Now, I am someone who loves baseball hats. I got a lot of baseball hats. I wear them all the time. And actually, if you like this hat I'm wearing right now, you can go get it at local615.com. If you're watching live, it's on the screen, but that's not why I'm bringing this up. Okay, so I was just saying the other day, what if you got to a certain age and you just decided you went downtown Nashville and you saw a cowboy hat and you're like, man, I kind of dig that cowboy hat. There's no successful way to transition from a baseball hat to a cowboy hat at 40, right? I mean, come on, dude.
I mean,
if you're telling me if I started wearing a cowboy hat, you're not going to give me the business.
I would give you. I would give you grief.
Everyone would give me the business. You can't just say you would.
But the thing is you being you,
right?
That's completely different than somebody just trying a baseball, a cowboy hat.
But I'm not talking like.
And I would give anybody grief.
Oh, see, all of us would give it.
But for you, especially, yeah, I'd run you through the rails.
So what if I start wearing like Kangol hats? I'd still get the business, right?
Yeah.
This is what I'm talking about. If you want to go cowboy hat in your life, my theory is you have to go young. You have to go young with a cowboy hat. Cowboy hat is very like baseball hats are just accepted now, right? I say they're like the man. Women have makeup to like cover like stuff and look better and all this. The baseball hat is the white man's filter. Okay, it makes you look better. It does. It puts a shadow over your eyes. If you're bald, it covers that. If your hair is not great, it covers that. Right? It is the white man's filter or just man's filter. But black men have the advantage in life, thanks to Michael Jordan. Like baldness is kind of like accepted now. It's like for cool.
Some guys, it's a good look for
right.
them.
But a white bald man, most of the time, like no, right? Like every white bald man. The
theory is if you see a white guy that's bald, there's only a little bit of choice there.
Right, exactly. But you see a lot of, in black culture especially, you see it, like Michael Jordan, people are like, no, take it all off. So anyways, the hat, I'm just saying, speaks to the white man. I see a lot of white men wearing hats. But if cowboy hat's just too much, dude. Even if you meet someone for the first time, John, you're meeting this person for the first time, they walk in with a cowboy hat, you tell me you're not making assumptions about this person.
There's in the back of my head, I'm making jokes.
100%. But
I see them come in, and I'm saying, "What's up, Tex?"
Okay, so like our friend Ender occasionally wears a cowboy hat, right? I mean, he does, and he wears a lot of different hats. He wears
that covers so many bases. That statement.
But here's the. If you listen, we love you. But here's what he did that no one else does. If you wear a wide collection of hats, you're allowed to wear the cowboy hat. But if you're strictly baseball, I don't think you can do it. I just think
the thing is the other way around is perfectly acceptable.
Exactly.
If you wear a cowboy hat all the time and then you bust out a baseball cap,
like, that's
no
cool.
big deal.
Garth Brooks.
Yeah.
Best example. Man wore a cowboy hat for years, and now he's wearing a baseball
Tim
hat.
McGraw.
See?
Yeah.
You can't go the other way. It's a one-way system.
And you know what? Guess what? Both of y'all, you look better in the baseball cap than you do the cowboy hat.
See? But I don't know, man. I was just looking at cowboy. I've got this I've got this cowboy hat. It's a Bud Light cowboy hat. I got it at Walmart. I use it in a lot of my videos. It's just a funny looking hat. But I was like, what if I put this on? I was like, I want to wear a cowboy hat. So me and my wife went on this trip to Michigan, and I was like, I put on a cowboy hat. I was like, what do you think about this, honey? And she's like, no. I'm like, all right. Well,
I made a quick decision.
Yes, I'm out. Like, well, if my wife doesn't like it, I'm out, you know. And any married man, I love these married men go, I'm going to wear whatever I want no matter what my wife says. Then good for you, brother. You're one in a million, all right? If your wife decides she doesn't want you wearing some type of thing, you're going to give it up at some point. You're not going to take the the nagging constantly, right? You know, like, anyway. Well,
the thing is, also, on that respect, I mean, this woman has proven that she's attracted to you.
Right. That's true.
If there's something that she says all of a sudden that you are not attractive any longer,
right,
while engaging in this thing, it's probably universal.
Yeah, that's true. Well, there you go. I don't know. I was just thinking the cowboy hat is just it's the true. It takes, if you want to know if a dude's confident, if a dude shows up at a party or an event for the first time meeting people, and that dude walks in wearing a cowboy hat, that guy's got a set of cojones on him. I mean, like, no, I would never do that. Like, I think if I occasionally wore a cowboy hat, there's no way I'm wearing it. I don't even know. I don't think you can occasionly wear one. That's what I'm saying. I don't think
you can get away. Well, nowadays you can't. It's obvious, but even like in the 90s, I think it'd be easier to get away with wearing a pink button-up shirt.
Oh, yeah.
Than it would be wearing a cowboy hat.
You're 100% yes. 100% yes. You're right. The cowboy hat is the ultimate, like, no. Like, you've got to commit all the way to it. It's crazy.
I mean, if you got the cowboy hat, you got to have the Wranglers, and you got to have a belt buckle.
I just think cowboy hats could be more functional in society if we were all allowed to wear them. I'm not saying wear them every day. I'm not talking a 10-gallon. I'm talking some of those, like, cool kind of like they're obviously cowboy hats, but I'm not talking like a 10-gallon.
It's like a Stetson.
Yes, kind of like that. I think that'd be dope.
Yeah.
Why can't we do that, society? I'm not going to get ribbed everywhere I go wearing a hat. I just can't do it. I just don't have the patience for it. But anyway, random thought. All right, let's get to the news. Rest in peace this week. Mr. Mikhail Gorbachev passed away. Now, I'm just going to be honest. I thought this guy died years ago. Did you know Gorbachev is still alive?
I mean, he just wasn't in the news, so that's one of those things you assume in the back of your mind that someone that was so big at one point.
Oh, I mean, yes, right?
Is suddenly just, I mean, they're just not in the news anymore. You just forget that they...
It's wild. So, okay, what do you... truthfully, when we grew up, you saw this Gorbachev like everywhere. Constantly on the news, constantly Reagan is associated with Gorbachev, vice versa. What do you remember about his legacy?
I mean, the biggest thing I remember is Reagan saying that famous line.
Yeah.
We'll tear down this wall.
Gorbachev, tear down this wall. So I kind of like, when I was like, let me read about this dude, because I don't know what this dude's like about, you know. And I guess, I don't know, man. I think when we grew up, you just did not trust Russians. I mean, you just did not trust him. So, like, as a kid, I was like, I don't know. This guy, I mean, I guess he's good, but I don't trust him. I guess for all accounts, he's a pretty good guy. Like, I was reading, he was very instrumental for the Berlin Wall, for sure. I mean, him and Reagan became kind of buddies after a while. You know, they had a couple of tense meetings in the middle, but after a while, they were really good friends with each other. And it just speaks to a time in the political history of this world where we're not at now. You know, like, I know Trump and Putin, they met, but my God, those guys aren't friends. I mean, they're vultures. You know,
they're both picking the bones of what they can.
Right. I feel like there used to be a time where, and obviously we're far removed from this now, and I don't know if we'll ever get back to it or not, and possibly, but there was a time where you could work with people to reach common goals, right? And I feel, you know, and look, I'll give my thoughts on Reagan. Trash, but I know John likes him, but I think he did a lot of terrible things that we're paying for today. But even the case be, a lot of good was done on the European front for these two men. I mean, they changed the course of Europe forever. I mean, dismantling the USSR, you know, like these things like that live on today. So good for him. And he stepped down. I mean, this is the true sign, I think, of a good leader. Basically, they were like, dude, there's going to be bad things happening if you don't step down. Attempted coup. We're going to start killing people. And he's like, I'm stepping down then. I think they did attempt one. He goes, if this is what it's going to be about, I'm literally stepping down. That's a sign of a good leader to me.
Yeah.
That's a sign of going, the position, I'm not bigger than the position. I need to step down. Now, we get to Putin because of that, but I don't know. Russia's a mess, man. Like, is there any world where that ever gets better? I don't know. I think it's just almost impossible at this point. It's like climbing up a hill with a boulder on your back, Yeah. But anyways, Gorbachev passed away. I always thought, who was the guy after Gorbachev? I can't remember his name, but he was like an alcoholic, bro. That guy seemed like he was drunk. Yeltsin.
Boris Yeltsin.
Boris seemed like he was drunk 24/7.
It's because of the red in his cheeks.
I think he did like to drink too.
I mean, they're known for vodka.
Yeah, hey man, get down, party town. So, anyways, that was the big death this week. I feel like we missed Anne Heche passed away.
Yeah.
Did we talk? We didn't talk about
we
that,
didn't
right?
Really talk about her.
Yeah, just tragic. I was watching Yo Gabba Gabba. My daughter has been watching Yo Gabba Gabba. That's literally all she will watch, John. I love the show. I do. It's one. If we're, Mount Rushmore of kids shows, Yo Gabba Gabba's up there for me. It's amazing. Weezer's been on there, My Chemical Romance, Hot Hot Heat. I mean, I forget. It's so many great bands, you forget how many have been on there. But she was on an episode, and I looked up, and this was after she passed, and I didn't really recognize. I said, who is that woman? She's like very attractive, And I was like, but she looks so familiar. Who is it? I had to look it up. I was like, oh, that's Anne Heche. I was like, wow, because she always looked different in like every role she was in.
Yeah.
And she was a natural beauty. I think that we kind of passed, but she had some mental health issues, and she was with, what's her name, right?
Ellen.
Yeah.
When Ellen first came out.
Yeah, that's right. So she passed away way too early, but I guess she, I don't know, was in a vehicle accident and just did not go well. So that's unfortunate. And she struggled for a while with mental health issues, but man, that's truly. I know a bunch of people have died, but I can't remember.
Olivia Newton-John passed away a few weeks ago. That's right.
Go ahead and give your eulogy.
I mean, I loved Grace growing up. I mean, that's her biggest claim to fame.
I have never seen Grease. That's my big claim to fame. But anyways, John loved it growing up, so she was in the lead role, the lead actress. Is that what she's going to be known for? Literally, like if you take Grease out of her,
she was already famous before Grease.
For what? Actress,
music,
singer.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. How old was she? Like older, like 60s? Had to be, right?
She had to be.
Okay.
I believe she was 26 when they were recording Grease.
Okay.
And
when did Grease come out?
Grease came out in 78.
Ah, okay. So she's like 26 years older than us, essentially. Yeah. So 45 plus 20. So she's like 70.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Well, rest in peace, all those people. All right. Let's get to a discussion, then we'll move into our list this week. And not necessarily Mount Rushmore, but it was Michael Jackson's birthday, August 29th. It was also co-founder of this podcast, no longer with us, Lee, my brother. It was his birthday. Him and Michael Jackson share the same birthday. And John said, had you heard the news that Harry Styles has been deemed the new king of pop? Now, this was done. It was a title. It was mentioned in an article by Rolling Stone UK. And they said, is Harry Styles, they didn't say is, they said Harry Styles is the new king of pop. John, I'm going to let you start. What do you think of that statement? Harry Styles is the new
I keep going back and forth because
I
remember back in the day when, Michael Jackson kind of gave himself that title.
Did he? I did not know that.
Because that's where Howard Stern he did a bit on his show.
Okay.
And he said, it's ridiculous. Anybody could be king of anything. Guess what? Now I'm the king of all media.
Oh, is that where Howard got that from?
He made it himself because Michael Jackson gave himself a title.
That's so funny. I didn't know that.
And so,
wow. Okay.
So on that aspect, I guess you just whatever. I'm the king of pop,
So I want to say something real quick. My dad was a weird man. And one day I want to do a whole podcast about him, but he loved Elvis, and we talked about Elvis a couple weeks ago. He loved Elvis, and Elvis
which will be streaming on HBO Max tomorrow.
You gonna watch it?
No,
you have not watched it.
I haven't watched it yet.
Then we shall be discussing next week.
Okay.
But anyways, Elvis was the king, And my dad said, I don't know if this story is true or not. So if anyone knows, or maybe John, you can confirm it. He said that they wanted to call Bruce Springsteen like the new king or something. And there was a poll or people said something. And so, no, they said, you can't be the king. That's how you became the boss. Now, I don't know. My dad was a pathological liar. So if anyone could vouch that story, I guess I could, but I don't really care to. But anyway.
I don't think that's how he became the boss.
I probably not, but I don't know, man.
But I could see how someone would want to have a new king when Elvis passed away.
Yeah, right, for sure.
And then I could see him turning it down.
Right. All right. So Harry Styles. Here's what I'm going to say. And I know it's going to upset some old heads out there. Look, man. Here's who defines the king of pop, okay? It's not 40-year-old men doing a podcast. It's not 40-year-old journalists writing for Rolling Stone. It is literally teenagers and young adults that determine who, to me, is the king of pop. And Harry Styles sold out Madison Square Garden like something ridiculous, like 15 straight days in a row or some crazy number like that. I was listening to a Jimmy Mouth of the South Hart interview today on a wrestling podcast. They said, who do you listen to? And he said, Harry Styles. I'm a big fan. Now, Jimmy Hart is an older man. I mean, he's
I'm probably saying his
70s.
Yeah.
And he's listening to Harry Styles. I think it's okay if a new generation comes in and anoints Harry Styles their king of pop. I think it's a generational thing. I've heard people say that before.
Well, I mean, the thing about it is, okay, a king is a lifelong term.
Yeah.
The previous king
is dead. Right.
So at that point in time, I guess it's free reign.
Right. That's true. So long live the king. Now, can you tell? Now, I don't know much about Harry Styles.
I couldn't name a single song that has
Watermelon Sugar.
If you say so.
You've heard this song.
I've heard the song. I didn't know it was his.
Well, here's the thing. I do know some of his songs. If you played them, I would know them, but I cannot name them. I know he was in One Direction, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We're guessing here. So I will say, is he our king of pop? No. Like Michael Jackson will always be the king of pop to us. But to those 16-year-old girls, 17-year-old girls, teenage girls, even teenage boys, young adults, they love this guy. I mean, to them, he's speaking to them. And I will give him, there's a similar arc. I mean, Michael Jackson came out of a group.
He came out of a group.
He has mass appeal. He's in movies. I mean, he's doing more than Michael Jackson on that. He's been in a couple movies. I mean, he's in the Marvel franchise as Star Fox. So I like the cut of his jib from what I've seen in the movies he's been in. He was in Dunkirk. He was in what was that? What movie was he Star Fox in? The one I can never
Eternals.
Yeah, I liked him. I think he has enough charisma. Once again, I'm not that upset. I know people are like, Michael Jackson will always be the king of pop, but I think, John, you said it best. The king is dead. So, and there's got to be a new king rise up. That's good. I never thought about that. All right, well, so I guess fine. Harry Styles, king of pop. I mean, who else is there, John? I mean, there was Justin Bieber. The crown was too heavy for his head, right?
No.
Maybe this guy can wear it. I thought maybe it might be Bruno Mars. I thought maybe he could be the next Michael Jackson. I thought The Weeknd might be the next Michael Jackson.
Are you asking who's the next Michael Jackson? Or who's the next king of pop? Because
right.
They may not be synonymous.
Well, who's the next Michael Jackson? I mean, like I said, it can't be Bruno at this point. I mean, Michael Jackson. I mean, we're about to list our 4 favorite Michael Jackson songs. He had so many hits, bro, that never he didn't stop.
Yeah.
Bruno Mars, last single he had was when? Years ago.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Years ago. Okay, I would say The Weeknd, but maybe The Weeknd's your best. I told someone that, and they go, you think that dude's Michael Jackson? I'm like, well, I mean, what is your criteria, dude? I mean, The Weeknd.
I mean, if what we have, the sources that we've been given, these are the cards, and you have to pick one.
You picking The Weeknd?
Who else are you going to choose?
I've said I picked The Weeknd. I love The Weeknd. He's got more adult themes than Michael Jackson had. I mean,
I'll break down some Michael Jackson songs.
Yeah, but Weeknd's he's writing. He's talking about stuff Michael Jackson never. Like, there's some songs that are all just about drugs, bro. I mean,
there wasn't really a drug culture as big.
Are you joking? There was all that drug culture, bro. Everyone's.
It's legal now.
Yeah, but no, not cocaine and ecstasy and Valium.
I know, but it goes in waves.
Okay, we'll get to Michael Jackson song. We'll talk. You tell me all these.
I mean, Smooth Criminal, which may come up on the list. I'm sure it will.
Oh, of course.
I mean, it could be about murder.
Could be. No, Weeknd is literally saying, I'm doing coke while... Anyway, okay, look, whatever. Point is, Harry Styles, new king of pop. Sure. I don't care. Yes, sure. Do it. In the UK especially. I mean, that's where the article was published.
Yeah.
So, all right, good for you, Harry Styles. All right, well, it's time now. Me and John are going to break down our favorite Michael Jackson songs. Not necessarily Mount Rushmore, but, I mean, I don't know how you would do a Mount Rushmore of best songs. I mean, you would have to... Well, we did one a couple weeks ago. Elvis. Mount Rushmore is different than... What did you do this week? Did you do your favorite ones or you did a Mount Rushmore?
I did...
That's my favorite. I don't want to look at the man's career and try to build it, man.
I did mostly my favorite.
Okay, fine. So this is our favorite Michael Jackson songs. All right. So who went first last week?
I think you went first last week.
Okay. All right. Well, you can go first. That's fine.
Okay.
All right. Same thing. Once someone picks it, it's off the board.
It's off the board.
It's picking our 4 favorite Michael Jackson songs. All right. All right, John. I feel there's one definitive number 1, but you may surprise me. So what's your...
there could be several.
No, there's a definitive.
But
his best song.
If you have a song that's basically synonymous with a holiday...
Oh, okay. No.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, go ahead.
That's my number 1, is Thriller.
Okay. I mean, that's not his best song, but sure. That's your favorite Michael Jackson song, Thriller. Come on now.
The way my favorites work when
Yes.
it comes to music generally is something that I can identify with. And obviously I can't identify with Halloween. It's not even my favorite holiday. Or zombies.
Right.
But I mean, and so, I mean, with Michael Jackson songs, my favorite probably would be the one that I could probably sing the best to. And so I'm not picking that as my number 1.
It's interesting.
But
all right, so Thriller.
Thriller.
Look, don't get me wrong, dude. If you went to the public, okay, and you said what's the best Michael Jackson song, Thriller is going to come up a lot. I mean, to anyone our age, it was a childhood song. I'm going to tell you, truthfully, I've never really liked Thriller that much as a song. I love the video. The video's dope.
I think it set off what videos became.
Right. It was definitely epic at the time. All right, John. How did you not say his best song? Without a doubt, one of the best bass lines ever in recorded music, okay? Billie Jean. I mean, my God, are you kidding? Now, this is one of his most adult theme songs, if you ask me. This is literally, about, I don't know if he had any experience in this. I don't know who wrote this song, but it's basically just saying a woman's come forward saying.
He did the music, and there's a funny story about it.
All right, go ahead.
He was at a party, and at the same party was Daryl Hall and John Oates. And he came up to them, and he basically threw it out on the table and said he basically ripped off Billie Jean from one of their songs.
You remember which one?
Not
really. Don't.
Before I started telling the story, I could have told you.
It doesn't matter. Okay. Keep telling the story. I'll look it up.
But they asked him which song. He told them, and he's like, they're like, I don't see how you ripped it off. To them, it didn't sound anything like it.
Right.
But from when he heard it in his own mind, when he played it back,
I can't go for that.
Yes,
okay.
That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
But who wrote the lyrics, man?
I don't know who wrote the lyrics.
I mean, the lyrics are about this
basically
lady
he
saying, I'm pregnant with your child.
Yeah.
And he's saying, the kid is not my son, which is wild. I feel like if I was look, I will say this.
I mean, when that song came out, that was an adult thing. That's what I was comparing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's it. But here's my thing. I obviously I'll say the same one. We all loved Michael Jackson growing up. If you, I keep saying this whole episode, but if you're our age, if you're in your 40s or Gen Xer, Michael Jackson was just part of life. Like you could not experience life back then without hearing Michael Jackson. Now, I loved Prince more than Michael Jackson. Always, never, always will. If you're asking me who's better, Prince or Michael Jackson, Prince. I mean, it's not even close to me. But I say this to say, I will put Prince on Spotify any day of the week. I I play songs now for Nick, my middle child, who's kind of musically inclined. And I will break down the song and tell him why it's kind of good. And like we were doing Let's Go Crazy the other day. I was like, this is why the song's good. I don't do that for Michael Jackson. I'm not saying they're not brilliant songs, but I don't know, man. I loved him at the time, but part of the stigma of what he's been accused of.
I think the difference between specifically their music is when Michael Jackson kind of embodies pop.
Yes.
Whereas Prince's music kind of transcends.
Right. Yeah, that's a good example.
It's not like it's here.
Right.
Or it's there. It's something that's just like
Prince was a rock star, dude. Like when he stepped on stage, he was a rock star. You're right. Michael Jackson was a pop star bona fide. Like there will never be, and I do mean this to family, there will never be another bigger pop star. So if you're saying stay kings forever, then he will be the king of pop forever.
Yeah.
But anyway, Billie Jean, just a dope song. The arrangement, man, it's so good. God, it's not even close. It's my favorite Michael Jackson song. There's nothing even close to it. So, all right, that's my number one. John's number one, Thriller. What's your number two, John?
My number two. Sometimes, if you can't judge a man by himself, you have to judge him by his friends, who he brings into his inner circle. And for this song, he enlisted the help of. When you think of 80s guitar, you think of one person.
Yeah, Van Halen.
Van Halen.
Okay.
So the second song, Beat It.
Wow. Yeah, this is a great song, dude. The guitar solo is great, but once again, this is the problem I have with Michael Jackson. His lyrics are corny, man. Your two songs, they're corny.
They are corny, but that's...
beat it. It's like, bro, we know you're not in a gang, bro. We know you. The only beating you've been done is when your dad was beating you, right? Like, this guy's never been in a fight, obviously. And look, I want to give this to say, the man lived a hard life, all right? He was obviously a stunted child his entire life. We're not here to run him down, but I'm just saying, when you live a life that hard, there are repercussions as you come out of it. And I think that became very clearly, but he was a genius. And I'm very confident to say Prince and Michael Jackson being in the same atmosphere of music at the same time, it is insane. It is insane, man. I think
there's certain periods of moments in time,
right? Well, like the Stones and the Beatles,
just unbelievable.
Right?
Well, if you think about it, Smells Like Teen Spirit. Nevermind, whatever. Nevermind, 10 by Pearl Jam.
Oh, that was,
and
the Soundgarden.
Appetite for Destruction.
Yeah.
All those albums came out within 44 days of each other.
Is that true?
Yeah.
I thought Appetite came out in 89. Are you sure about this?
I'm pretty sure.
All right. Well, no, but yeah, regardless, see if it was.
And so, there's things that just, are unbelievable when you.
No, Appetite for Destruction came out in 87, man. 87 years. Nirvana's 91.
No, what's their? Maybe it's their second album.
Appetite is the big one. Appetite has Welcome to the Jungle, Sweet Child of Mine, Paradise City. Their next album is an EP, and then the album after that, Lies, come out in 88.
I'm thinking somebody else.
Use Your Illusion, came out in 91. Yeah, that's the one. It's
Don't
Cry, Live and Let Die, November Rain come out in 91. That's the same time.
Anyway, maybe I was thinking.
A couple of years is fine, yeah. John. Yes, it's amazing. I would more like the Stones and the Beatles being around at the same time, and then Led Zeppelin being around with it's crazy. It's crazy. Okay, Beat It. Yes, obviously it's a great song. As a kid, I loved it. Okay, I'm going to go with the one you mentioned earlier, Smooth Criminal. Yeah. Dude, dope song. The video game, one of my favorite arcade video games of all time, Smooth Criminal. But, and then the resurgence of Alien Ant Farm covering it in the 2000s just made it even cooler, But once again, just corny lyric. Annie, okay? I get to. It's like, what are you talking about, dude? I just don't feel this guy was writing a lot of autobiographical songs. You know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
I need singer-songwriters to write about their life. Okay, not every song has to be about your life, brother. You got to give me one or two. You got to give me a few. and maybe a few will come up later on the list. I think he wrote a few later on that were definitely his feelings. But Smooth Criminal, love it, banger. But I mean, I will listen to it if it comes on. I think I prefer the Alien Ant Farm over it. But anyway, good song though. Smooth Criminal. That's my number 2. All right, John, you're number 3.
Number 3. It seems like in the 80s, everybody wanted to have their moments of giving back. And so you mentioned corny songs. This is the corny of the corny.
Which
Man
one?
in the Mirror.
Oh, see, that's the one I was talking about. That's the one I feel like a little bit autobiographical there. You know, I'm looking at the man in the mirror. Yeah, great song. I mean, this is when Michael Jackson changed, though. I mean, this was a different Michael Jackson, looks-wise and sound-wise. You know, you have different aspects. You know, young Michael Jackson was very party music, you know, and then you got to the 90s, it was very pop music. And then I feel like his later career was definitely, it was pop. It was more like adult-oriented pop, you know. And I was there for it. Like I said, I want people to come across and go, oh, you didn't like the guy? No, I loved Prince number 1, and then Michael Jackson was like number 2. Like, that's just how it was. But you had to pick a favorite back then. Everyone had favorites. And
It's kind of like Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior.
yes, right? Or Hulk Hogan, Macho Man. How about that? You know, you liked one over the other, but they were both great. Man in the Mirror, anything else to say about that one? Yeah, not really.
No, not really.
It is what it is. All right, I'm going to go with Don't Stop Till You Get Enough.
Oh, good one.
So that is from early Michael Jackson. Probably Off the Wall, if I had to guess.
I think you're right.
I don't know. His albums I'm not very clear on because I just look at the greatest hits as everything you need. But Don't Stop Till You Get Enough is just a dance. Like, that is the Bruno Mars we were looking for.
Yeah.
When you look at Bruno Mars, you can go to that Off the Wall album and go, oh, okay.
I mean, Justin Timberlake, too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, Justin Timberlake's solo album was literally just, let me listen to Michael Jackson, let me do the modern version of that. Because he was supposed to be the next guy. And that definitely didn't happen.
He would have hit the same beats, too. I mean, as far as being in a boy band.
That's right. Justin, I'm going to start acting, man. And look, at some point, if you've ever written songs, it gets difficult, man. I mean, like, unless people writing them for you, and Justin was writing a lot of his own music and songs, so that gets to be difficult after a while. Yeah. So, you know, unless you turn into Aerosmith and you just have people write them for you. But, yeah, but Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. That's my number 3. All right, John, we're down to your last one. What you got? Any surprises?
I mean, I hate to put 3 songs from the same album, but Thrills was such a great album. So I mean, I have to go PYT.
PYT, Pretty Young Thing. Yeah, I definitely had that one on there.
I like that song a lot.
His dance music was just infectious, man. I thought you might slip in a Jackson 5 on there. I really did.
I mean, I was thinking about jokingly say "We Are the World."
I mean,
but
there we go. Yeah, PYT is a good one. That's obviously a great one. All right, I'm gonna wrap this up then. I gotta do this for my brother. I got to do this for Lee. If Lee's listening,
exactly
if Lee ever listens, I would constantly make my brother cry. And the fact that my brother and Michael Jackson shared the same birthday, it's
just the icing on the cake.
I always brought it back. Whenever I wanted to make him cry as a young child, I would just sing one Michael Jackson song. That song was called "Leave Me Alone."
Just leave me alone.
And Lee would get so mad. I could just break them. I've always been able to break people. I mean, like, if there was some job where I could just break people, I would be rich. But "Leave Me Alone" is a very, honestly, I mean, I know it. I love the song, number 1, but in the video's bonkers crazy.
It is.
But I mean, like, it's just
it's a head scratcher.
It's like, what's he's on? What
are you doing?
He's on a roller coaster.
Like
also
in a little plane thing.
Yeah, it was weird. But it was an outcry to the press and to the fans and to, like, hey man, I need some time on my own, you know. Yeah. So yeah, that's my last one. All right, so let me go over these and I'll see if there's any you kind of feel bad. You got Thriller, Beat It, Man in the Mirror, Pretty Young Thing. I had Billie Jean, Smooth Criminal, Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, and Leave Me Alone. The only one I really would have loved to put on there, because I mean, we just pretty much got them all there, but Remember the Time.
Remember the Time was a good one.
Banger, dude. If I didn't have the joke with Lee, Remember the Time would have been number 4. But I've sing Leave Me Alone. I sing Remember the Time a lot too. Do you remember? I mean, all the time. I used to say it to my kids all the time. I mean, he just was so great with phrasing as well. You know, like, I mean, God, just a true talent. I mean, and like I said, we're not going to get into all the stuff he allegedly did. But I will say this. For the man to allegedly have done the things he's done, if you're young and you don't know what we're talking about, good. Keep it that way. For us to still listen to his music is it's pretty wild. I mean,
there's hardly anybody that will get a pass.
Right? I mean, think about this. What he is alleged to have done, John, is...
And the thing is, it's the worst of the worst.
It's the worst. It is the worst.
Yeah.
Okay? I've said before, murder. If you murder someone, you get better pass than if you mess with kids. Okay?
Yeah.
That's just the way society works, all right? It's literally touch kids, kill animals, kill people, and then sexual assault somewhere. But this guy, we're just like, okay, well, I mean, you know, let's go put on Pretty Young Thing. I mean, like, it's crazy. It's a testament to his music. I can't think of anyone else that's ever done it. Gary Glitter, we're just like, nah, bro, we're done. We're not listening. No. We're like, no, that's done. We're never playing that at sporting events again. But Michael Jackson, man, long live the king. So, you missed.
Got to be starting something.
Yeah,
that's
got to be starting something.
Scream.
I love Scream. I do love Scream. I think Scream doesn't get enough love, especially Janet Jackson. Those two together.
Yeah.
That is a cool video.
That's a cool video.
I think he had great videos. I mean, but yeah, I think that's probably all the
Black or White.
Human Nature is one.
Human Nature. I think our old friend Half Pint would be upset if we didn't mention that one.
Yeah. I always think of Half Pint when I think of that. Anyways, he sang it. If you're asking, he sang it live on an old podcast we did. All right. Well, Michael Jackson appreciation. We are done. Thank you so much. Let us know what your favorite Michael Jackson songs are. But we've come up to the end of the show, John. It went fast tonight. So, yes, if you want to listen to more of us talking old episodes, you can go to our website, bybpod.com, bybpod.com. There's got all of our social media links. So if you want to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Are we on Facebook? I don't even know. I mean, we are. Obviously, I will get the messages if you send them to us. But, God, Facebook. Ugh, just so much trash. We're on TikTok, all that fun stuff. But, yeah, just follow us and grab some past episodes. If you haven't written a review and you're kind of a new follower, go do that. Go on Apple Podcasts, leave us a 5-star rating and review. And, that's really about it. Anything I'm missing? I mean, the Amazon link is gone. It's dead. But me and John will be going to see The Killers.
The Killers.
So if you're going to be, I'll say this, and we'll sign off here. If you're going to be at that Killers show, please let us know, and we'd love to meet up with you there, because I've been to a couple of things. We went to the Counting Crows, and somebody we knew was there, a lady that kind of follows us on social media and stuff. So if you're going to be at the Killers show in a couple of weeks, let us know. We'd love to hook up with you, have a couple of drinks, or John doesn't drink, but just hang out, talk, have a good time, do all that. So with all that being said, John, is there anything else?
Don't blame yourself when you can blame your brother. You were not alone.